$1,400 a month. That's the average cost of rent in the United States of America by the end of 2018. That was the most recent study I saw. $1,400 is the average rent currently as I make this video in the United States of America. Now, that'll vary depending on what state you live in, because each state is different. And rents and the cost of rent is usually associated, obviously, with the job market and the economy in your state. You know, if you live in a state like California that produces a lot of jobs and produces a lot of GDP and a lot of economic growth for the country, Google what you're watching YouTube on, and all the high-tech jobs, they stem out of California. So that's why rents and housing prices are so high there, because there's a lot of job opportunities. If you go in the middle of the country, where there's not a lot of commerce, there's not a lot of economic growth, rents are cheap. So everything is somewhat priced in proportion to the local economy. But that being said, housing prices and rents have gone up and squeezed a lot of people out of affordable housing to some extent. We'll talk about that. So, you know, take the average. The average, again, is $1,400 per month. That's the average rent currently in the United States of America. Now, the average mortgage, I researched that, was around $1,000 and change. Now, I don't know if that study also included taxes and maintenance cost in the mortgage, because you have to consider that. You know, recently I was looking at a home base, a raw RV lot to purchase. It would be my second home purchase. I purchased and owned a condo in New Jersey for 15 years. And I got a mortgage a little bit over $200,000. And after I added my mortgage, my taxes, my HOA fee, and my utilities, I remember it was around $2,400 per month to basically cover all my housing expenses. And that doesn't consider like when an air conditioner breaks or when you do a renovation, etc. So your rent and your mortgage is your base expense. But I can guarantee you, I can assure you, as someone who's experienced in owning property for 15 years, that and it doesn't even matter if your rent or your mortgage is not going to be your only cost associated with your house, because you're guaranteed you're going to have to fix something. And that's the difference between rent and owning. When you rent, you know, as soon as something fixes, you can't wait to call your landlord because I don't want to deal with it. I'm paying rent every month. And yeah, that's the difference. You don't own it. You know, you're paying for everything included other than utilities. And when you own it, you know, good, bad, or whatever, but you can fix it on your timetable when you own it. When you own it, you know, as long as you're not renting it out yourself, when you own it, you know, you could take forever to fix your roof. You could put duct tape on it. You know, not that I recommend it. You can cause more damage. But that certainly does come into play when things are tight. But everything is proportional. We're going to read all live comments. Let's see somebody from Ravel. She's from up north. She says Brooklyn, the rent average is $2,800. That's true. I mean, Brooklyn has revitalized in the past few years, but Brooklyn is right outside of Wall Street. If you've ever been to New York City, when you cross the Brooklyn Bridge, you end up in Lower Manhattan. Lower Manhattan, right there is Wall Street. It's the World Trade Center, and there's a lot of economic growth, and there's a lot of money, and thus it overflowed into Brooklyn, and that's where you're at, you know, right? So, you know, it's a reason that rents are so high. It's because of the commerce, of the economy. And so, again, if you can go in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, you could probably get rent for $500 to $800 per month, maybe even lower. But what are you going to do? You're going to get a job at Walmart? There's a difference between the main job in your town being Walmart versus the main job in your town being Wall Street. There's a big difference. And that's why somewhat rents are associated with, you know, the area you live. You know, I don't like New Jersey. I worked my whole life to get out of New Jersey, but I had a viewer in here, shout out to Tara. She's from Kentucky, and she was thinking about moving to New Jersey. And I told her, look, I mean, I know I talk a little bit bad about New Jersey, mainly because of the weather, but New Jersey has a lot of great job opportunities, great schools, and I'm thankful I was raised there. because I think there's more opportunities there than Kentucky, um, in general speaking terms. So where you live plays a big part in your ability to make money. The reason people migrate to America is because of more job opportunities. They can go live in their foreign land for cheaper. And I had someone super chat me one time here from, I don't know where it was, the Philippines or something. The exchange rate, what they super chatted me like $100. So everyone was like, "Oh, I got super chat for $100." But when you did the exchange rate, it was like $2 if that, right? So so their rents, are way cheaper, but there's no commerce. You understand what I'm saying? So, and it's in proportion, and that's why everyone, like my grandparents came from Italy. Why'd they come from Italy? Because the job opportunities are way greater in America than Italy. And so again, that's part of the pricing. But I think part of the problem is a little bit is that in the 70s was like the last time houses were built affordable. Meaning that in the 70s, if you look at homes that were constructed in the 1970s and prior, most of them were small, quaint ranches or 1,000 square foot houses or less. Interest rates were high. They may have been over 10%, but houses were cheap and they were in proportion to the amount of square footage you need. How much square footage do you need? For one person, you don't need more than 250 square feet. Now, the minimum square footage you're going to buy in a new house is 1,500 square feet. And you got single people moving into 1,500 square foot houses and up. You got people that are in a relationship or even with one kid. They had one kid and now they're upgrading to 1,800 square feet. Totally unproportioned. Look at all the home builders. Even in Florida, like I look at it, in Florida used to be cheap housing. You look at everyone's, and in New Jersey, forget about it, they build mega mansions. Mega mansions. Because the developers are trying to get all they can out of the land. They don't want to just build a quaint house and make a small return. Land is expensive, so they want to build as high as they can, as big as they can. And people buy that house now. And you can't just calculate, all right, I'm going to have a $1,500 or $2,500 mortgage. How much is it going to cost to furnish your house? How much is it going to cost to paint your house? How much is it going to cost to maintain the heating and cooling in your house? The more square footage, the more heating and cooling, the more maintenance, the more cleaning. A lot of times people buy a house, one of the first things they got to do is hire people. I got to hire a cleaning lady. I got to hire a contractor. And thus, housing plays a big part in the economy. And that's why the government does everything it can, for the most part, to keep a good housing market. That's when we crashed in 2007. We had a bad housing market because there was too much debt in the system. Too many people were borrowing against their house, including me, and doing other things, either buying more houses or doing other things. So now the debt is out of the system. But now all the people who had a house, a lot of them, they sold their house either at a loss or when they finally got above water, they sold. And now there's a lot of people squeezed out of the housing market, right? And the same thing happens with the stock market. When does the average person get out of the stock market? When the stock market goes low enough, when there's a lot of pain, they don't have the money to endure it. They sell. Big capital firms buy and they hold, and then you get squeezed out of the market. And then for you to get back in, you may get back in too high. So that's kind of like that dynamic. And that's why statistically, doesn't matter who's in office, statistically, since about the 1980s, the middle class has been shrinking and the 1% population have been owning most of the assets in America. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, there's still a lot of opportunities in America. And I'm still very thankful for America. So I want to be fair in my presentation. But what I want to say is rents are high. Housing is high. Housing is built bigger than it used to be. People don't want to buy a quaint house anymore. So some of that is due to the public pressure. Some of it is due to real estate developers want to develop bigger and better. Obviously, taxes play a part. Taxes are always going to go up, guys. Always. And part of that's public school system. That's the major pressure point on your taxes. Now, in New Jersey, we had some of the best public schools in the country. And that's why taxes were very high. In Florida, taxes on average can be very low, but you got bad public schools. So some of that's proportional. Some of it's a mislead, HOAs never go down. I was part of an HOA for 15 years and never went down. Never went down. And we had assessments. So if you take 2,400, that was my average monthly. Housing cost with my mortgage, my utilities, my HOA, everything. Got to include everything, guys, not just your mortgage, because you got more than that. So times 10. That's 240,000. So if I bought my house for 200,000 and I sold my house for 250,000 10 years later, did I make money? No, I lost money. Even though I bought it for 200,000, all my housing cost, and those are just base costs. Those don't include renovations. Those don't include capital assessments. Those don't include painting your house, getting a cleaning lady. Doesn't include any of that. Just your base monthly normal cost. For 10 years, that's 240,000. If I sell it for 250, I still don't make a profit because I'm gonna have real estate fees, real estate agent fees. Even if I sell it for owner, you're gonna have transaction fees, closing costs. You're gonna be lucky if you break even. And that's if the real estate market's up. But what's the opposite of buying? In most cases, you're not going to make out. You're going to break even. Because what's the opposite of buying? Renting. So renting is saying you're throwing your money away. I mean, you're paying for shelter. You're paying for no maintenance. You're paying for a fixed cost. But if you stay in one area long enough over a period of time, that's a fair argument. I would say you have to stay in the same area for more than 7 years for it to pay off to own a house. But I just gave you a 10-year metric and you'd still lose. But the opposite is, right? If for 10 years I paid $2,000 a month, say I didn't want to pay $2,400. Even if I paid $1,000 a month, I just spent $100,000 for 10 years. I got nothing back. I got shelter. That's what you get back. What else are you going to do? You live in your car and go from campground to campground? Not too many people willing to do that. And it's not an easy life, guys. I mean, I know sometimes I make it look fun because, look, I'm single, I'm adaptive, and I want this, but, there's sacrifice. And I still think about home base. So housing is good, and that's why you got to work, guys. Even if Andrew Yang gets voted in 2020 with $1,000 a month basic income, the average rent is $1,400. You still got to work. How do you get ahead in life? You got to work. How do you get ahead in your job? You got to avoid drama and you got to show up regularly. If you don't do that, if you don't have an income, you're screwed, man. You could try to play the system, but I know people play the system. You get fucked, man. And you got to really play the game with people, man. If you don't like to deal with people at work, wait till you have to deal with people in the government. Total disaster, guys. Or wait till you have to deal with your family members. Or wait till you have to deal with an unhealthy relationship because you got to rent a room from someone. I'd rather be in a campground. And I'd rather work. Now, some people don't have the capacity to work. I understand that. I do understand that. I used to be very rigid, like, I just work. I see now, like, I have some family members, I know some people in real life, they can't do it. And there's no judgment on them, just disaster. But that being said, now they got to deal with it. So that's what keeps the fire under my ass. You don't work, you're going to be dealing with a lot of crap, and you got no one to blame but yourself. It's part of life. But the bottom line is rents are going up. I think a little bit is a lot of people got squeezed out of the housing market. A lot of, it statistically shows it, the people who are worth more net worth, they own more of the resources. If you're going to stay in one area for a long enough period of time, it may not make sense to rent. It may not make sense to buy. You have to really do the math, guys. And the difference between renting and buying is a down payment. That's one of the differences. Down payment and maintenance. So a down payment, you need anywhere, if you're going to get a government-backed loan, anywhere from 3% to 20%. In some non-conforming properties, like an RV lot, you need 25%. So what's the average house? I think the average house in America is, I think the cost of it, it's got to be anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000. Average. There's less and more. So again, it all depends. In New Jersey, ain't no way you're getting anything decent for that. So what should you do? Bottom line, guys. Now let's get to what should you do. Here's what I've learned. As an adult, I've lived on my own since I was 22. And I do recommend work and get out on your own as quick as you can. Because living with your parents, you're never going to develop. You know, I know a lot of times, even like my family did it because they came from a foreign land. Andy G, thank you, brother, for that super chat, brother. I see you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, Andy. You're very kind, man. Love to you, brother. Thank you. Like when my family members came here, and when first generation immigrants come, they keep their family knit very close. Why do they do that? They do it because survival. You know, especially like in other lands, you know, you have to stay in a pack to survive. But as you become financially independent, you separate yourself from family. And I think that's a good thing to some extent. I think if you stay with someone just because they're your family, you're going to live a horrible life. And the only reason your ancestors did that was to survive. It wasn't because they were happy and free and loving. They just did it. It's a survival mechanism, guys. Same reason people park next to you in the parking lot. It's an instinct. That's all it is. But I do think as you become an adult, you have to build your own life, not your parents' life, not your children. You have to build your own life, okay? Your parents' dream was they wanted a family, they want a life. What's your dream? You may not want a family. You may not want to stay in the same state as your parents. Should you do that? You should go live your life. If your parents had you just to stay around and take care of them, they basically birthed an indentured servant. Now, a lot of other countries, they have that. They have indentured servants. I'm not for that. I'm for freedom. Okay. And freedom means you got to go out there, you got to produce an income, and then you got to figure out what are you going to do? You're going to rent, you're going to buy. If you're going to buy, you're going to need a down payment. Don't borrow money from your parents. I did that on my first condo. I regret that. It just became a disaster. Should have just waited and bought below my means. You got, before you buy, thank you again, Andy. Thank you. Before you buy, here's a key thing, guys. Decide where you want to live. Decide the climate, the temperature, the atmosphere, the culture, the crime rate, all that stuff. And then also decide, all right, I want to live here. How do I make an income here? Okay. That's how you start to decide whether you're going to rent or you're going to buy. But definitely if you're going to buy, don't just buy because you have a job there or because you like it there. Or don't just buy because you have family or a job there. Buy because you like it there. Because eventually, if you don't like it there, you're going to want to sell. And that's not an easy process, guys. Even in a good market, it's a painful process. You got to uproot your life. This is what I wish someone would have told me. I'm still thankful for my experience, but I'm sharing with you now my experience, which is one of the key things to settling down and planning routes is where do you want to live? And if you don't know where you want to live, then you should do a little traveling. You know, I was watching a Dave Ramsey YouTube video. There was a guy by 37. He's worth $4 million. He wants to cash out of his business and he wants to go travel in an RV for 12 months to find what he wants to do the rest of his life. Here it is, a millionaire. He wants to go live in an RV and travel and find his true purpose. But also, you know, Dave was like, oh, you made it for yourself. You pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, you deserve it. But really, he was part of a family business. So even though he didn't inherit money, his family laid out a pathway for him. So it's all a game, guys. Please. Very few people making $4 million without some help. And what I could tell you is this, guys. Find out where you want to live. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in the wrong place, the wrong people. There's people, they're not focused in life around where they want to live, what they want to do. They're so unhappy with their life, that they start to look at other people's life and they say what they don't like about them. I see it all the time. In real life, I see it with family members. They're not concerned about their own life, their own health. They're concerned about other family members' life. I see it on YouTube. There's people that dedicate their whole channel to talk about other people's channel. Why? because they don't decide where they want to live, what they want to do with their life. They're focused on someone else's life. Do I care what people think? I don't care what anybody thinks. And that's how I've built my life. But you have to care about money. And you have to care about where you live because they affect your life. So where you want to live, and then how do you make money there? And then do you want to rent or buy? Everywhere has downside. I've traveled up and down the East Coast of America, and every land has downside and upside. Places by the beach are beautiful, but the downside is they're a little bit more risky. They boom in times that are good, but if there's a hurricane, if there's a catastrophe, they're the first to get hit. An ocean view is great, but if a storm comes, you're the first one to get hit with it. The country is nice and rural and a lot of privacy, but you're in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to just go to Starbucks or Planet Fitness. Your neighbor is a cow. So you're not going to find anything, whether you rent or buy, that's perfect. What's better? What's below your means, and how committed are you to that one area? And then do the math over the course of 10 years. How much is your rent? How much is your mortgage? Those are your base costs. You're going to have more than that. Do you want to deal with a landlord? Now, even if you don't want to deal with a landlord, you're part of an HOA, you're going to deal with them. Or even if you buy a single family property, you're going to have to deal with people that live around you. I don't know, guys. I still would rather, if I had a choice between renting or buying, renting is a transitional, flexible position, but over a long period of time, I would rather own. But what I've learned is a lot changes in 5 or 10 years. And so right now, I'm not sold on buying, and I don't want to be a long-term renter. I like I like living like a nomad, but it does wear on you guys. It does. The road gets weary. And so, is being a nomad forever the answer? I can't tell you yes, because like I say, I think it's a challenging thing for a lot of people. And I don't want to mislead you, but I also don't want to tell you buying is the answer, because I've done that, and that leads to a weary, long-term commitment. And so renting is pretty much, over a long period of time, it's not throwing your money away because you're paying for shelter, but it's money, that's not building into any equity. But here's the final thing, we'll go to all live comments. When you finally do sell your house, you have some equity in it. What are you going to do? When you sell your house, you're either going to buy another house, or if you live like a nomad, you're going to end up where I am. So you're either going to end up totally living like a traveler, or you're going to take your equity, you're going to take your profit, and you're going to go to another piece of property. Now, sometimes you would make out if you sold your property in one state, you came to a cheaper cost of living in another state, and then you just put the money somewhere as liquid assets. That's a possibility. But the biggest thing that keeps people from moving is family. Family members and friends and all that whole thing, it keeps you in a certain area. So, is there one answer? There's not one answer, guys, and life changes. Life changes, and that's okay, though. It's okay to experience life. What should guide you? Living below your means, finding where you want to live, and then just enjoying each day. Because what you can get caught in the middle of is being consumed by buying, renting, living like a drifter, and you never enjoy each day. One thing I am thankful for, that God has always kind of blessed me with, even though I fail and I have my days of anxiety, is that I realize the value of time. I realize I constantly keep in my mind that the average lifespan is 80 years old. And I'll be 39 this year. I'm about halfway through my life. And so part of that age and being unhappy where I was living, but waiting 2 years to come to Florida so I can do it responsibly with my job. Part of that was because the first step was I wanted to live where I love. I wanted to live with good weather. And each day, even now, I still struggle with, do I want to buy a home base? Because now I've been in Florida for about 8 months or so, almost a year, basically. And so now I'm like, Sam, how much more traveling do I want to do? This is where I want to live. But each day, even before if I do get a home base, I still go in the ocean. I still go for a walk. Because I said, Sam, don't end up like one of these people that even when they finally live where they want to live, they're consumed with building a house or building something and they're not living life. I know a lot of people that live in Florida and even live by the beach. And they don't get in the ocean every day. They don't really engage life. They don't use their creative gifts. My reason why I didn't want to own a house anymore, I wanted to at least cut my square footage and my expenses in half, but I wanted to be a little bit more free to use my gift. This is using my gift sharing. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't care either way. I know there's always trolls and stuff. It doesn't bother me. I mean, if they don't get it by now, my channel's almost 2 years old. I got over 8,000 subscribers. Some of the same trolls that have been coming on my channel, they've been doing it since back in the day. They know I'm not going to quit. I mean, I can get where I'm at in life worrying about that. So, like, I see the importance of life and what to focus on. To focus on building yourself up, focusing on what you love and inspire, but doing some stuff you don't want to do to get where you want to get. And then, I don't think there's a clear one way, rent, buy, or live like a traveler, a nomad. I think there's different seasons of life. I think there's value and disvalue in them all. I think there is value in owning something. I think there's also a burden in owning something. I think there's some flexibility in renting, but there's also an inconvenience with renting. I think there's a lot of freedom in living like a nomad, but I think there is I think it gets weary after a period of time. And so I think these are all the things that go through your mind in life. I've been a buyer. I've never rented a long-term lease, but I've rented in campgrounds. That can be considered a rent fee. And so I've lived with no obligations. And what I like to do, and then we're going to go all off comments, what I like to do sometimes is walk around property that I'm really thinking about. Like the home base I was looking at, I went to it like for 2 weeks straight, just walked around it, got to look at the neighbors, the area. And I said, Sam, am I infatuated with this? Do I really want to wake up every day for the next 10 years and be exactly right here? And that starts to weigh on me. But I could say the same thing. Sam, do you want to keep drifting for the next 10 years? It doesn't weigh on me. Commitment weighs on me. A little bit. But either way, those are just some thoughts, guys. And we'll go on all live comments and we'll go from there. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Share the video. Andy G, man, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the positive people. Good to see you too, American writer, man. Love and respect. Luke, so my brother, giving you a big positive shout. I appreciate that, man. Stay positive out there to you, my man. Always good to hear from you, brother. Always good to hear from you, man. Luke, thank you, brother, for that. I hope everything's going good with you. You know, Luke is from we're from North Carolina, brother. But I know he has some family issues, and he wanted to get the hell away from them. And I think it's wisdom, guys. I think once you become a certain age, even if you got a good family, you got to start to build your own life. Because that's what life's about. I mean, if you were born to be yourself and to find your own path. Part of the journey in life, whether you rent, buy, or travel, is you got to find your own path. And, you know, Luke, continue to do it, brother. Rob, Sammy, what's up, brother? Going forward, man. Feeling thankful. Luke, rent is truly ridiculous here in the Carolinas. Okay. You can't even find a decent one bedroom for less than $950 a month. Well, I could see that. Again, the average U.S. rent is $1,400. So the Carolinas, I've traveled through North Carolina, South Carolina. I haven't been inspired by it. I want to be honest. Those on the East Coast, North Carolina and South Carolina, very uninspiring. Very much a country land. It just didn't have a good feel for me. But that's just my opinion. I know some people that bought property there, they love it there. I didn't like it in the Carolinas. So I think that's the thing. Like, and $950 in New Jersey would be considered cheap because you got a lot of housing, you got a lot of job opportunities. So $950 in Carolinas, if there's not a lot of job opportunities, that's high. So it's relative, guys. You got to examine that. So you got to examine, where do you want to live? Can you get a job there? And then what's the ratio going to be, Luke? Then you add in all the bills. You're looking at $2,500 easy, just to living, food, rent, car insurance, cell phone, etc. Yeah, look, guys, you're always going to have car insurance. You're always going to have a cell phone bill. You always going to have gas. You always got to feed yourself. Food is a huge expense. And you guys, I'm trying to tell you, it's one of the biggest expenses. DTN, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Keep pushing forward. DTN, I saw your video. I know you had a rough go a couple of weeks ago, but I saw you get back up, brother. And that's why I like you, man. You have tenacity. And you take the hits in life, but you keep pushing forward as best you can. None of us are perfect. But I appreciate you, DTN. Don't let this world steal your joy, man. I know it's not easy. But don't let this world steal your joy, man. You stay positive and, just keep doing the best you can. Was about to shower, but I'll wait. This topic was great. One finally caught early live. Good to have you, man. Anyway, what's up, Sam? Well, I'm doing the best I can, but I feel good overall, man. It's good to see good people, man. And there's more good people in life than bad. The bad people making a lot of noise. But, as I get older in life, look, again, you don't push forward in life if you care. Just remember there's more good people than bad. Never forget that, guys. Tony, Sam, what's up? Rents here kind of high. Maryland. Maryland's another one. I mean, Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland has had an overflow of money coming from government spending in the Washington, D.C. area that's made those areas just grow. Very congested to drive. I mean, if you ever drive on I-95 through Maryland to Washington, D.C., that area is a disaster as far as congestion. Some nice areas, but I wouldn't want to live there. There's some great economic opportunities there, but I wouldn't want to live there because the environment, the culture, the vibe, it doesn't mesh with me. So, again, now some people get offended. They may love it there. Again, guys, what you like is individual. What you like is individual, but you're going to have to figure out what you like before you start to put down roots. Don't just start buying or renting somewhere until you kind of figure out what you like, especially if you're going to start a family and stuff like that, because if you're not living what inspires you, your whole life is going to be, chasing, you're going to be chasing your tail. And I thank God that I woke up midlife. I know a lot of people wake up midlife and it's, they're already too established in one area. They got too many roots down. It's too hard to uproot them. And so one thing, I tried to reposition my life in Florida, that even if I lose my job, that I can get another job and maintain my life where I want to live. Now, there's no guarantees in life, But I'd rather take the chance in Florida than take the chance in New Jersey because I've been there in New Jersey. I've gotten laid off before, 2 weeks before Christmas, and I had a mortgage payment due. And here I am, I'm living somewhere that doesn't inspire me. And now I stayed somewhere I shouldn't have stayed. So that's why it's very important that as soon as you can, to really go where you want to live. And, I think that requires some travel. I didn't just shoot right to Florida, even though that was always my target. I did some traveling up and down the East Coast to really understand the lay of the lands and to see what works best for me. And I think that's very important. DTN, good to see you, man. Luke, I wonder how many Dunkin' Donuts baristas make it. Well, that's what I was thinking too. I'll do a video on that. If I bought a home base, how much time would I spend in Planet Fitness and Starbucks? Because if I had a home base, I'm sure there'll be days that I make coffee there, and if like the clubhouse has a gym, but the clubhouse doesn't have the same gym as Planet Fitness. If you make coffee, it doesn't taste the same as Starbucks. The Wi-Fi at Starbucks is banging. The baristas look cute. So here you are, you get a home base, and you still end up at Starbucks and Planet Fitness most of your time. I knew a guy, he just bought a van on YouTube. He's traveling. He bought a van so he doesn't have to go to Starbucks that much anymore. And he end up going back to Starbucks because he said he's more productive there. He likes it better there than in the back of his van. He upgraded his car, but he's still up in Starbucks. So if you buy a home base, but you still spend most of your time in Starbucks and Planet Fitness, your home base, what it really gives you is a shelter at night, a place to sleep. That's the value. Depending on who you are. Now, some people are homebodies. I used to be a homebody. If you spend most of your time in your home, then hey, that's a huge investment. But what I found spending most of my time in my home, what I was doing is just eating, watching TV, playing video games, and that was it. So it's like, I don't want a home just to eat, watch video games, watch TV, and go to sleep. I wanted to live life. And I started to spend more time outdoors. And I think that was key in going outside and going for a walk. It really opened my eyes to life and to seeing, just seeing more of life than what's on the screen or what's inside of my sheetrock walls. Ravel, New York rent is crazy. It is because there's a lot of job opportunities. Same reason California. So right now, if I tell you like my man, who was that told us about the 950 in Carolinas? Somebody said $950 in Carolinas, but if you $950 rent in New York would be cheap as hell. It'd be subsidized housing. So it's all relative to the job opportunities and things like that. So you gotta be mindful. Luke, another people working Walmart in these low wage positions. Now look, I know some people that if you don't show up to work, it doesn't matter what the wages are. Let me just say that. Because if Walmart starts you at $10, $12 an hour, but you don't show up, look, even if they started you at 15, every job I've ever had, you got to show up. And you're always going to deal with people who are jerks. Look at YouTube. I got to deal with people who are jerks all the time. They're a small percentage, 90% people positive. 90% of people on YouTube positive, 10% negative. 10% are really a pain in the butt. Same thing at work. But I deal with it. Why? Because I'm not going to let anyone mess up my money. I don't care how many fake profiles they have. I don't care how crazy they are at work. Don't let anyone mess up your money. You understand? Just because they're messing up their life, they ain't going to mess up my life. I've been figured that out. And that's what you got to figure out, whether you're working at Walmart or Wall Street. Now, you want to position yourself where there's more jobs than Walmart. But if you had to hustle and Walmart was your only gig, man, show up every day, mind your business, and do what you need to do. Because rent's high, mortgage high, and even if you're going to live as a nomad, it's not cheap. And if you're going to just live off the system, I'm trying to tell you, it's a trap. It's a pain in the ass. Now, if you got no other choice, if you're severely disabled, or if you got no choice, do what you got to do. I'm a UBI guy, so I'm not here trying to make anyone's life harder. I'm all for universal basic income, universal health care. But what I'm trying to tell you, even if you get those things, you still got to hustle a little bit to get a little bit ahead. Some things will get you at the even point, but to get a little bit ahead, you got to hustle a little bit. You understand what I'm saying? Keep going. Free to be me. Work for rent, all caps. What about food? Food's a huge expense, man. I remember on the Cosby's. Now I know Cosby became a pedophile, man. He got caught on basically How to Catch a Predator. I've been watching How to Catch a Predator on YouTube. Total disaster out there, guys. And what I can tell you is, I remember when he did an episode with him and Theo. Theo was his son. And Theo was talking a lot of junk to Bill. He's basically saying, look, I want to go out there and get my own place. And so he was like, I think I can do it. Here's a job like they're posting. I can get so much per month. And Bill started laughing. Bill's like, all right, how much you going to make per month? I'll make $2,000 a month. Daddy Geek. A little rent money. I appreciate that, Daddy Geek. More positive people than negative. Thank you, Daddy Geek. Love to you. And Bill was like, all right, let's say you make $2,000 a month. How much is rent? $1,000. So boom. He was like, Theo was like, I still got like $1,000 left. I'm paraphrasing, guys. And he was like, all right, we got to pay for a car, right? So he's like, yeah, here's $200. He's like, I still got $800 left. And he was like, you got to pay for gas, right? You know, here's $100 a month. So I still got $700. So then, he was like, there's a problem. You haven't ate yet. He took $500 from him. He's like, well, I can live on peanut butter and jelly. And Theo took $3 back. So he was like, all said and done, I ate, I got a car, I paid for all my bills, I got $300 left. And then Bill said, well, are you going to be in a relationship? And Theo's like, yeah, I want a girlfriend. And he took the other $300. Guys, having a kid and being in a relationship, very expensive. More expensive than rent or a mortgage. Should it deter you? No. But you got to be mindful. This is a real thing. Having a pet is expensive. Having a troll is expensive. Look how much damage they caused. Huh. You got a pet, it's going to destroy all your rugs? That's what my pet did. I love my dog, but you destroyed all my rugs. And so, just be mindful of this guy, will be. Studio apartment in downtown San Francisco, big money area. I rented for $675 in 1999. Now, rents $4,400 a month. Wow, man. Crazy increase, man. That's way more than inflation. There was talk now that inflation is low. That's what they said. Inflation's low. GDP 3.2%. They got all happy about that. What is GDP? Gross domestic product. It's an old measuring metric of the U.S. economy that all the talking heads use to say if the economy is going good or bad. It plays a part, but that's becoming an archaic measurement. Because does that measure the fact that, look at the inflation of rent? Now, truth be told, again, San Francisco area is booming with jobs, guys. But 4,000 something a month, that's crazy. Now, what square footage is that, will be? For a studio? That can't be for a studio. That's crazy. I'm tough. 800 for 300 square foot in Tampa. Try that. That's all you need, guys. That's what I think right now in Florida. You can get a small one bedroom or studio for $800. But if you're a single person, that's all you need. All one person needs is 250 square foot. Part of the housing crisis is due to the American people. We're demanding too much square footage. And then we're putting more of a burden on ourselves. More heating, more cooling, more maintenance, more renovations. You don't need more than 250 square feet. And if you're going to live with a girlfriend, 500 square feet max. Make that a love shack. But now, people got like 3-4 bedrooms just so they can get married and then sleep in a separate room. So now you get married and you end up sleeping in your guest room. You got too many rooms. So 300 square foot's enough. 800 rent, that's the lowest you're going to get in most places, Luke. I talked to one girl who said at Dunkin' Donuts, they don't even want to give her more than 30 hours because I don't want to pay overtime or benefits. Well, most companies don't want to make you a full-time worker because they don't want to pay for benefits. And that's why I believe that you should allow the government to provide universal basic benefits. Why? Because the corporations don't want to pay for it anymore for the average worker. And so they make you a part-time worker, or they do like DoorDash. They make you an independent contractor. But I like that. I like the flexibility of being an independent contractor. But there's got to be some basic services. Because look, Lyft and Uber, they don't even make money. Their company operates at a loss. They pay their workers basically minimum wage. And they're going to make billions offering bonds, public stock notes on the public market. Lyft just went public. They don't make a dime. They lose money. They lose almost $1 billion a year. Lyft, the company Lyft, loses about $1 billion a year. But they make money by offering stocks on the publicly traded market. People buy their stock, which is basically a bond. And that's how the game of capitalism is played. Amazon lost money for years. Most publicly traded companies don't make money. They make money by going public and people giving them money. And, so eventually monopoly comes to an end because one person has all the resources. And that's what capitalism is. It's a game of monopoly with some government regulation, but basically you're playing monopoly. Eventually, one group of people builds all the houses on the board game. Rents go too high, and the game has to stop. And then there becomes a reset. And so, a reset happens. And, but apathy, thank you. Quick troll slang cash, all love. I appreciate that. Always good to see you. You too, Apathy. You stay positive. Those trolls are jealous. You are appreciated. I know that. And I appreciate you, Apathy. Don't let anyone make you quit. Start your YouTube channel again. Look, the trolls, they got mental illness, and they're not in a good place. They're not enjoying their life. They're not living their life. They're not working. If that guy, he's been on this, he's still subscribed. He's been on this part of his channel for years. If he put that much energy into his own life, he'd actually have a decent life. But his life is a disaster. He hates himself. He's on the borderline of suicide. And I think he should probably, he'd be better off. He's a disaster. I think his parents should have an abortion. That's the truth. Do I think there's salvation for him? I don't. Am I his judge? No. I hope he's forgiven by grace, but I think he's a disaster. But he's a small percentage of people. Now that may sound a little bit harsh, but when you watch How to Catch a Predator, right? It's about these old ass men that seduce these young girls or young boys, and then they go to the house, and then the director, Jim Hansen or whatever of NBC, he comes out and says, "You're on How to Catch a Predator." He starts to interview the guy. The people, they're unrepentant. They try to make an excuse on why they're a child predator. So what do I think? That's why I think, look, some child predators and some people like that, they ain't ever going to change. They'd be better off gone. That's what I think. There's no reform for people like that. So, I hope the best for everyone. But I think there's a certain mindset out there that is just demented. And there's no, you could talk nice to them. You can try to make a rational conversation with them, but you can't. Because they're in a certain place. And I understand that. I've dealt with psychopaths my whole life. But I realize they're a small percentage of people, but they don't move me either way. Because I'm not clutching on to life in this world. I'm not, and I'm not trying to sell people oh, you're really a good person. No, I mean, some people are really bad, man. And I'm okay with that. Hey, look, you do you. You want to be a bad person? That's on you, man. I mean, look, at the end of the day, only God can judge us. But for me, I'm not moved by you. I don't, Journey with Joy. What's up, man? Troll away disaster fun. It's all good. Thank you, man. Hey, look, they think they do something bad, but let's stay positive. Go back to live comments. Luke, when I was, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Daddy Geek. Thank you, Apathy. Thank you, Andy. Luke, when I was living in Miami, I had a 1-bedroom. I didn't know you were in Miami. And it was $1,600. Yeah, Miami's hot, man. A month in Miami Beach, definitely. Miami and those resort areas, they're boom areas. And when times are good, they're booming. And again, the average rent right now is $1,400. So $1,600 for a 1-bedroom is pretty close. MTOF, rent scam, troll scam. Every way in life has a toll, guys. It's all a matter of what you want to pay for and what you want to invest in. But you see in life, you're not going to do anything in life without any resistance. You're not going to have a YouTube channel without some resistance. I'm okay with it. I still push forward. You're not going to go ahead in life, you may have to pay rent, you may have to pay a mortgage, or you may pay the price of constantly moving and be a nomad. But everything has a price. And I'm willing to pay it for the things that I enjoy. Like, I don't want to pay a price for something I don't enjoy. So if I enjoy do something, I wouldn't be worth it. But that's why I think the first step, when you start to look at putting down roots, is not always what's cheapest, even though living below your means has got to be part of the foundational process. One of the main things has got to be, what do you enjoy? And where do you want to live? Because where you want to live is just as important as how much the rent is, and then how much money you can make in that place. And then no matter what the job market is, and you shouldn't move to an area that has somewhat of a good job market, but don't just move here just for that. You got to show up. It's painful. I know it's painful to show up to work, guys. I know it's painful to deal with painful people. But you can never avoid it. Not in this world. That's why I don't clutch to life in this world. Because I understand, like, people always going to be. But I go back to 90% of people positive, 10% bad. It's part of the ratio, guys. Can't get around it. It's all right. MS 90210. They was up number what was that? Beverly Hills now 210. They all got old, man. Here in Massachusetts, my 2-bedroom is $1,650. $1,650. Expensive. I can understand that. Good to have you, man. Thank you for sharing that, Luke. That's why when I see people that are living out of their used Prius and bill super cheap, and you could easily save money working these average minimum wage jobs. I still think that, living in your car is the cheapest way. You pay a price. You got to keep moving. There's a mental anxiety there. There's a demand on your physical body and your emotions. It's still cheaper, though, than most other options. You got to figure out a place to park. You got to figure out some camp expenses, one way or another, gas, food. And you eventually have to have a plan to reposition your life somewhere long term. Unless you just want to just live life and just travel. There's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, sometimes I think about that too. I said, is the end game always property? Because once you buy the property, then you're going to realize, well, now I'm here, now what? So the end game is always living life as you go. Now, I think you got to get above minimum wage. I think you got to make $20 to $25 an hour, even if you live in your car, to get ahead of the game. You can make $10, $15 an hour and tread water. But if you want to get ahead of the game, even if you're going to live in your car, you need to get to $20 to $25. Now, you may have to have a couple side hustles. Maybe you work at Walmart and you do DoorDash, or you do something else too. But I think you want to get to the $20, $25 an hour. Because, you want to get ahead. It feels a little bit better. You got to show up, though. Good job, Ravel. 2-bedroom in Brooklyn, $2,800. Yeah, we broke that down. Look, Brooklyn rejuvenated itself. DTN. Rent here is expensive, but only low-wage jobs. That's key. That for us people to work multiple jobs, that's what it is. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, rent's cheap, yeah, but then you got to do like several hustles. And that's what DTN's doing. He's got a regular job and he does cleaning windows on the side. And then he goes, revitalizing Sharon. Wow, that's crazy. Free to be me. Keep it real, Sam. Always, man. Good to see you, brother. Stay positive, man. I'm so proud of you. Free to be me. I'm proud of you, brother, because you never... you've been through some stuff in life. You still stay positive, man. And do I appreciate that? I appreciate that about you, man. I really do. So thank you, Luke. But it's a crime because most people are living paycheck to paycheck. 80% of society. Stock market all-time high. Unemployment records low. GDP 3.2%. But 80% of Americans, 80%, even in some of the best economic times, they don't tweet that. The president never tweets that 80% of Americans still live in paycheck to paycheck. Part of it is just based on the system. It's based on consumerism. So part of it's self-induced because there's still a lot of good opportunities in America. But the way to get ahead is you got to show up to work. And then before you start to figure out buy or rent, you got to figure out where you want to live, because life is more than just the Monopoly game. Money's a part of life. I address it head on. Okay. But if you're just going to live your life to pass go and to build a house on boardwalk, and you're not going to spend time walking on the boardwalk or walking on the ocean, then, you're going to look back and for me, it's not going to be an inspiring life. Life is still going to suck. I mean, and you still have to deal with bad people and bad things, and God forbid, your health or something like that. But you got to make the most of it, guys, and you got to persevere. And we go forward. Good job. And then he goes, it's a crime living paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by. Don't even think about saving, having a future vacation, or anything fun, living enjoyment. I think as you build your career over time, and as you live below your means, you can get ahead. Look, guys, I'm living proof you can get ahead. You are going to have to make sacrifices. I'm living proof. So look, I didn't get an inheritance. I didn't get anyone like Bob Wells endorsing my channel. I get trolls. But my channel has grown. My life has grown. My career has grown. Why? Because I show up, I push forward, and I sacrifice. And God's grace along the way, good fortune along the way. But it's possible. So I don't want to paint a picture of it's not possible, because I would be disingenuous to say the earth is falling, rent's too high, life's horrible. It's not. There's a lot of good out there, guys, and there's a lot of opportunity. So, just be mindful. DTN. Ravel, Sharon, that's crazy. Ravel, fixing a roof is around $10,000. You ain't lying about that, bare minimum, depending on the square footage of your house and the type of roof. That's true. DTN, yeesh. Backwoods, what's up, man? Let's shout out to the Northwest. Hydration break, brother. I'm going to go read your comment, man. Love and respect. Backwoods, hey, brother. Hope everything is good. It's good, man. Thank you for staying positive. Backwoods, look. Backwoods living a somewhat mobile lifestyle. He goes to Alaska. He does hard work 6 months out of the year. He's a full-time fisherman. Makes enough money to live on, and then he does his own thing. There's different ways to live. You don't have to necessarily work a conforming job in a conforming life. But you have to kind of figure out life as far as what's going to work for you. And what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. Backwoods. Hey, brother, hope everything's going well. I'm about to make the jump, Sam. What are you about to do? I'm currently building a home. There you go. Home set up in the back of my truck bed. Well, there you go. I just got out of a perfect canopy. It's finally after searching. Well, brother, you're a smart person that's willing to work, and you have a good attitude. You're going to figure it out. Even if you go in your truck and 8 months later, which is the average lifespan of the nomad, 8 months, you decide it doesn't work, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. Life's about living life too, guys. It's not just about a spreadsheet. So there's math and there's emotion and there's life. So I don't want to discourage you. Shout out to my guy, Jay Smith, who's getting ready to buy a house. I don't want to discourage anyone from doing anything. But I want to encourage you to figure out where you like to be, how you can live most of your time there, and every day go on the ocean, every day go for a walk, every day do the things that you love. Because every day you're dying. Every day you're dying. You're terminally ill. And so that should give you enough passion to push forward and make the most of your day. Ravel, I'm in Brooklyn. They want to see 80,000 income a year plus excellent credit score, etc. I can understand that. Look, I was right out, half hour, 40 minutes out of Brooklyn. So, and I spent a time walking through Manhattan and a little bit of time in Brooklyn, not much, but enough. So look, anywhere in the Northeast there, in that metropolitan area, New York, upper North New Jersey, that whole area there, $80,000 is like average income. $50,000 right now in America is the average U.S. income, $50,000 a year. And when you make $80,000 a year, that's not what you take home, because you got to deduct about 30% of that, 30 to 35% after federal tax and state tax, if you have state tax, and after health insurance, so, if you, what's 10%, 80, 16. So you have to deduct basically like $20,000 to $25,000 off your 80. So you're basically going to take home like closer to closer to around $60,000. If you make 80, you take home 60 to 55,000. That's the truth. John Suttles, good to see you, brother, man. Stay positive. John, I hope you're healing. And And I hope that you always use your gift of intelligence, of automation, and that you never feel insecure, man. Because look, man, we're all terminally ill, John. So if someone don't like you, man, screw them. Now, continue to be positive, though, and be respectful, guys. Unless you're dealing with a troll on YouTube, don't worry about it. But, like, when you're dealing with people in life and they give you a hard time at job or a hard time in the store, don't engage in drama. Drama will destroy your life. Drama will get a gun pulled on you. Drama will cause you to get fired. So just avoid drama. De-escalate, but don't avoid being you. Avoid conflict whenever possible, guys. Now, if you're backed in a corner, you self-defense. But avoid conflict whenever possible. And keep showing up. Keep being yourself. Because if being yourself isn't good enough for someone, guess what? What kind of life are you going to live? Where you can't be yourself. A lot of people live a life like that. You don't want to live like that. John, I love you, man. Very proud of you. Backwoods 100. Hang loose. I like that emoji. Peace emoji. Thumbs up. Sunglasses 100. Thank you, man. Woohoo. California, most expensive state. True. It's some of the most economic booming state. Everyone is miserable too. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, brother. Go to Indiana. Go to Detroit. Google, Apple, DoorDash, all those headquarters are in California, Silicon Valley. It's booming with economic opportunities in some areas. Some areas, so some of the biggest GDP. The president just tweeted out GDP was 3.2%. How much GDP does California contribute to the country? Some of the most in any other state. GDP, gross domestic product, and the economic booming, it comes mainly from California. Look at the statistics. But housing is relatively high. So it's a give and take. That's why you went there. I remember you left Detroit. Didn't you leave Detroit to go to California? But they weren't doing your business right. Norma, I love you. Love your channel. Thank you, Norma. Thanks for being you. And it's crazy here tonight. It is. But I'm all right. You keep showing up, guys. Look, you're going to work at Walmart. You're going to have to deal with a crazy guy. You know what you do? You show up. Come on YouTube. Thank you, Norma. You show up to YouTube. The guy's been coming in. People coming all the time. I keep showing up. Whether I make a regular video each day or whether I do a live feed. For 2 years, I've showed up. I've grown my channel. And I think that's your life. Thank you, Norma. And thank you, everyone who's left an encouraging comment. I appreciate that. It means something to me. I'm thankful. But this is what I'm showing. I'm showing you by example. I'm not giving you like a high and almighty speech that I'm this great guy. I'm showing you by the example of my everyday actions that if you show up, if you stay consistent, and you need God's grace. I don't want to try to boast on myself, but you do these things, you go forward. You go forward. Thank you, Norma. Love to you. Tony, woo, facts. Yeah, woo, got the hell out of Detroit, but he had to come back. He went to San Diego. He was living in his car, but they were messing up his cleaning business. He had to come back and make sure he paid the minimum wage, tell him to get back to work. DTN. I bet, shaking my head. Ryan B, Sammy, I love you. I love you too, man. Ryan B, you stay in that Prius, man. You can't beat it. It's cheapest way, man. Cheapest way. Cheaper than $1,400 a month. Hey, look, man. Florida State Park, you can stay at a state park for $800 a month. If you were 65 or older, you get 50% off. If you're disabled, you get 50% off. So that's a win. Ravel, me too. DTN, greedy realtors. They're not greedy. That's their living. That's their hustle. Now, I don't think you want to get a realtor that's their second job because you really want someone that's their full-time job. But it's the biggest transaction you'll ever make is buying a house. And so, it's helpful to have a real estate agent. Now, they're going to get 3 to 6%. That real estate fee is negotiable. I negotiated my fee. Daddy Geek. Make it rain. Daddy's chill. Thank you, Daddy Geek. Thank you, Norma, Apathy, Andy G. Everyone, man, who super chatted, man. I forgot some. I'm going to read them all again, though, man. Thank you, Daddy Geek. Thank you. 3 to 6% is the average real estate commission fee. It's standardly 3% for the seller's agent, 3% for the buyer. I negotiated down to 1.5 for the seller, 1.5 for the buyer, total 3%. Why? Because everything's negotiable. I interviewed several different real estate agents before I picked one. And I negotiated the real estate commission before I signed a 6-month showing contract. You're going to sign a contract with a real estate agent that they have exclusive rights to your property for a certain amount of months. Kylie, thank you. I call Claudette. I don't want to get the name wrong. Can't afford home or rent. Well, I understand that. Stay positive. Claudette, you stay positive. Love to you. Thank you, man. Thank you for everyone showing me support, man. I mean, it's always like the overall message, too, that I show you guys. More positive people than negative, and I'm very thankful for the positive people showing me support tonight. Thank you. There's some negative, but it's always in life. Thank you very much. Very positive. But negotiate that real estate commission, guys. And if you can't afford to buy a house, you could rent. Your only other option is live like a nomad. But you got to figure out parking, and you got to realize, look, I sweat at night. I got real sick. It was cold in New Jersey, but it's possible. Your age, your health, your mental ability, all those things are going to play a part, guys. All right, let's keep going. MTOF, North California, isn't too expensive. Okay. Houses for under 200K. Look on Zillow. There you go. Now, again, if you bought a house for 200K, though, and if your mortgage, taxes, utility bills were $2,000 a month, and you had that house for 10 years, you paid how much? $2,000. I mean, $200,000 plus your down payment. So, and you could probably have a 30-year mortgage. So you're going to pay that. You're going to pay that over 30 years. How much did you spend? You spent $600,000 for a $200,000 house. Well, you got to live somewhere. And so I don't want to just tell everyone to live in their car. You got to live somewhere, guys. Whether it's renting, buying, or living in a car, you got to live somewhere. And so everything has a proportional thing. So what should you do? Marin, thank you, Marin. Thank you. Heart emoji. What should you do? Figure out where you want to live, guys. That's the first thing. Figure out where you want to live. Figure out how you can make an income there. Then figure out how to make it work. Whether you live in your car, van, or RV, or you live in a house, or you rent a house, live where you love. That's the best advice I could probably give you tonight. MTOF. But fire problems. Yeah, well, and that's a good point. See that, like in California, you could have fire problems. In the Midwest, you may have tornadoes. In Florida, you could have hurricanes. Even though New Jersey had Hurricane Sandy, thank God that I didn't leave. Thank you, Daddy Geek. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank God I didn't stay in New Jersey because I was scared of hurricanes. Because, New Jersey had a horrible hurricane. So everywhere is going to have some type of natural disaster. Florida may be underwater in 20 years. Do I care? No. When I die, I want to be cremated and thrown in the Atlantic Ocean. So if I buy a home base and I go down Atlantic Ocean, guess what, guys? Save a super chat for me in heaven because I'm done. Look, we're all terminally ill, guys. So you want to plan, you want to prepare. Now, you want to take an association with these risks. Like even the home, this is a good point, MTOF, because like the home base I'm looking at, it's in a flood zone and it's by the beach. It's risky because it's by a hurricane. Just a troll, woohoo. So it's like, but like what's not risky? Living in the middle of nowhere, where there's no, I don't want to do that. So it's like you want to live where you love. Life requires some risk. So you want to mitigate your risk by living below your means and by figuring out the lay of the land and figuring out how to produce an income there. Good job, Luke. Even living in Miami's very congested, guys. I wouldn't want to live in Miami. But even though the job market's hot, with the rent being so high, the job market is not that much better. It's up there now, but it depends what sector you're working in. To other areas, then that's fair. Even in some rural areas, because I remember talking to the Starbucks Greek and making $10 an hour. Somewhat that's true. Like I look like, don't forget those other areas to work other than Miami, like Boca Raton's a big job market, West Palm Beach, there's a job market, not big. But that's why I say figure out where you want to live first. Then figure out how you can make an income to support where you want to live. Like don't just go to Miami because you want, if I had a choice, I wouldn't want to live in Miami. It's too congested. So now I got to figure out, all right, I don't want to live in Miami. Where do I want to live? That's where you got to travel. That's where you got to search around. And then how can I produce an income to sustain myself there? Be Barry. I would feel shame to live in a place and not use all the rooms. I did it. I felt shame. And that was part of my reason for selling. I'm going to do a YouTube video tomorrow. When you buy a house, you're going to feel more alone. Because when you buy a house and you look at the empty rooms, you feel alone. So you buy stuff to put in the rooms, and then you invite people over to spend time with you, and then you get into a relationship because you figure, I got to do Netflix and chill. And it's a whole self-fulfilling prophecy of you chasing filling up rooms. And then you fill up all the rooms. You got kids, you got in-laws, and then you hate everyone, and then you want no rooms. You want to live in your car in a desert. But I will say that out of the 1,000 square foot condo that I owned, I only used 250 square foot max. One person only needs 250 square foot to live a good, comfortable, good life. Now, if you're going to have another person in that house, if you're going to have a family, then that's different. But for every person in your family, only add 250 square feet max, including, your ungrateful in-laws or your ungrateful daughter that's going to come back to live with you because she don't want to get a job. She don't want to show up at Walmart. D10. I'm tough. Yeah, those wildfires. Do you hear that, guys? Tony? Nope. There's building 3-time bedroom houses here with acres of land like 300 plus. Wow. That's high, man. Let's take a hydration break, guys. Thank you, everyone. Luke. That's why I'm so excited about scaling up my business and growing it and keeping my cost of living low. There you go, brother. So that I can have money for more enjoyment to do things. That's so wisdom. Income higher than expenses, but sustainable. That's the hard part about having your own business, is it's hard to build it sustainable. But over time, if you show up consistently, you can. So just keep pushing forward, brother, and try to stable it out. American Rider texts in the house. Hey, bro. American Rider lived in his vehicle for about 8 months. Then he went back to apartment. And then he told me he was recently thinking about going back into a vehicle. Let's see what he got to say. From Texas. Hey, bro, I'm still renting. Okay, thank you for the update. And rent increased 5%. Now, there you go. That's inflation, guys. Inflation is the cost of living going up, whether it's shelter, food, etc. So what's the average inflation? They say it's low, less than 2%. His rent just went up 5%. Okay. So let's make a mental note for his new lease. I have a Prius, though, as a backup plan. Well, brother, the best thing you have in your favor is you've lived both lives now. You lived as a nomad and you lived a conforming life. So whatever you decide and you make the decision for you, you own your life. You know kind of what to expect. And you know that there's no perfect answer. And I think that's wisdom. I think when you accept that nothing in life is perfect, it's only better. And everyone has a different idea of what's better. What's better for me may not be better for you. Apathy, thank you. It's all about living below your means. That's right, and living where you want. Being picky about the company you keep. I definitely agree with that. And avoiding cancerous trolls in life. Apathy, tonight you create another channel. Tonight you create another channel, and you let me know about it. And you keep showing up. When you get the ungrateful person at Walmart or on YouTube, you show up the next day. You spike that football. I'm not a person who spikes the football. I'm a person who takes a knee. But by showing up, I spike the football. And in life, you got to show up, guys. That's number one thing. Good job. Be back. Government rewards gamblers and speculators. To some extent, you're right. And punishes savers and prunes. To some extent, you're right, B. Barry. That's a good, insightful comment, brother. Now, I can understand why they do that, because without risk takers and without gamblers, the society doesn't grow. If everyone was very conservative and no one risked anything, society wouldn't grow. Life is all about balance. But it's very painful when you take risks in life, which I have, and they fail. Where have I lost my most money? Well, day trading and gambling are my biggest. But they can be considered very high risk. I have my own business. I really didn't lose money there. I wasn't passionate about it. So, I mean, there's risk and there's like gambling. There's risk and then there's like, but nothing, but I know people, you can see people on Shark Tank. They mortgaged their house to start a business selling baby clothes and it went bankrupt. And that's it. Tesla almost went bankrupt. Tesla's still losing money. And even though their stock went down, they're still $1 billion company. So society rewards them though, because they're pushing the envelope with, electric cars. So it's a game, guys. Look, it's the monopoly game. And eventually enough of the higher percentage of people, 1% of people own all the houses on the boardwalk. And then, the game has to start new. Everyone has to pick a new symbol. Do you want to be the car or the thumbnail? Everyone wants to be a different symbol. But eventually, I think we get UBI, get $200 to pass go. But I still think even after UBI, you're going to have to hustle a little bit. Because right now, even if you got $1,000 per month, average rent's $1,400. So good comment, though. That's interesting. American Writer. Car living is my plan B. Well, it's good to have options. Keeps the pressure off having a plan B. No, I like, look, car living, which basically you're a tent camper. Your car is your permanent tent. You're on permanent tent, permanent camp vacation. I was never a big camper. That's why this culture, this lifestyle was a shock to me. But I've adapted to it. And even right now, if I buy a home base, I'm not going to buy a sheetrock. I'm going to buy an RV lot. But that doesn't appreciate as well as a home. So it's a little bit more risky investment in one sense. And that's why I like to go back and forth. But I want to do what I love. I'm living below my means so I can live a life that I love. Because, guys, there's money and then there's love. There's money. You need money. I don't avoid that subject. But you also got to enjoy life. And that's why living below your means, living where you want, and then, figuring out that whole dynamic, that's how you live an inspired life. And that's what you should do. Like, don't just look at rents. Look at where you want to live. Look at how you can get a job there. And then figure out your plan A or plan B, because that's how you're going to live your best life. Ryan B., American Writer. He's a good man. You have a good shelter with that Prius. It's a nice setup, man. Nice and cozy. Ryan B.'s got a Prius. He lives full time, man. I'm mad at that. American Writer. I'm sweating my ass off tonight, guys. Ryan, yes, it's very comfortable to sleep in. American Writer. Ryan, one day there was too much noise in my apartment, so I went out in the parking lot and slept in my Prius. American Writer, man, you know what it is? Look, I've been sleeping in my Jeep Renegade for 2 years, going on 3 years. And what I could tell you is I sleep 6 to 8 hours a night. More than people with a $1,000 mattress with dual zone air conditioners. When I used to have a house, when I had a condo, at the end of the last couple of years, I used to pace around my house at night because I couldn't sleep. Now when I go to sleep at 10 or midnight or whatever time it is, I'm totally exhausted because my whole day is movement. Thank you, Apathy. Apathy, thank you for the support, man. I will find my RV lot. Thank you. That encourages me. Look, positive people mean something, man. I think Apathy said it, man. You guys got to get this. Forget what rent is, even though that's important. Apathy said, look, you got to cut off the cancerous people in your life, guys. You know how important it is to have someone in your life to say something encouraging? Very important, guys. And that's why I cut out my father. I love him and he did some good things for me, so I don't want to be negative towards him. But like he was giving me a lot of crap for me, living in my car and not telling him I sold my house. But I tried to tell him and he wouldn't accept it. Or he started giving me a lot of stuff about it, and I was already scared. I didn't need more aggravation. But my whole plan was I have to consolidate my life, reposition my life, because I want to move to Florida. He didn't understand that. He said, you got a good job in New Jersey, he didn't understand that. But I didn't quit my job in New Jersey. I waited 2 years in New Jersey. I froze my ass off. I did videos about it. I just shared a link from when it was snowing in New Jersey. But I wasn't going to stay there forever, guys. Even if I had to change, jobs, I was going to eventually leave. Because I know the average lifespan is 80 years old. I don't want to spend time around people that don't encourage me, and I don't want to live somewhere that doesn't encourage me. If I work and I have to pay for rent or housing or campgrounds, I want to pay for it where I enjoy life, where I'm sweating and hot on the beach in bikinis. Sunglass face emoji back to the Apathy. Girl dancing. Very important, guys. Gotta have passion in life, guys. Jonathan. I thought public schools were better than here in New Jersey. It all depends where you go. But on average, it all depends. Like, right, South Jersey has bad public school systems, some areas. North Jersey, good ones. So, and same thing with Florida. There's some parts of Florida, great public school systems, some bad. So, I got to be careful, and you always got to be careful when you make general statements. So, but that's the key. The key that we're learning tonight, guys, you got to figure out where you want to live and how you can live there. And part of that research, if you're going to have children, is looking at the school systems, or do you want to do homeschool? Like, I knew a family member, they lived by great public schools, but they wanted to do homeschooling, and that's what they did. So, you can make it work, but that's the type of mind that you got to try to figure out life, And look, no matter what school system, I'm a firm believer, Because even the person who shot up Parkland, and that was a great public school system in Florida a year or so ago, he was a psychopath. He had great adopted parents that were trying to give him the world. But it's like, that's why I don't try to talk trolls out of being trolls. I don't try to talk like how to be a predator out of how to be a predator. Because there's some people like you can't talk goodness into them. They're psychopaths or they're mentally ill and they don't want to get help. Do I judge them? I know, but I stay the hell away from them. And if they act up, I call the authorities. I don't try to negotiate with them. Call the authorities. I document, escalate. Some people should be locked up. Like I'm not a person that thinks like everyone should be free. There's some people that deserve to be locked up. And it's just some people are a disaster. That's truth. All right, let's stay positive. All right, buying a house with debt is way too much stress for my mind. As soon as I bought a house, as soon as I agreed to a price and started the contract, I felt stress. When I sold my house, I felt relief. Now, but I do feel stress not having a home base. A little bit. Not as much, though, as I had a home. And that's why I'm conflicted. Because living on the road full time, I mean, it's not all good. But like in my mind, I still think, man, I still think it's a little bit better than buying. If I need to stay at a campground for 2 weeks, I'll pay $400. And then after 2 weeks, I can go wherever I want. I don't have to deal with a real estate agent. As you get older, you're not going to want to drive as much. It does wear on you. So there's give and take. American Writer. I think my rent is cheaper than a house. What was your rent again, brother? I'm sorry, man. A lot of comments tonight. Thank you guys for the comments. I think you said it was under $1,000, right? So yeah, the average mortgage I think is $1,030, and I think that's before property taxes and HOAs. Average rent's $1,400. But when you buy a house, you have to have a down payment, and when you buy a house, you have maintenance, and your taxes always go up. So there's more behind the scene cost with home ownership, and there's less flexibility. When you're renting, you can, once your rent's up, you get the hell out of there. When you want to sell a property, you got to get inspections, you got to clean it up. It's not liquid. It's a hard asset. Average house takes 4 months to sell. Now, we're in a good economy. It may only take 30, 60 days, depending on what you list it for. But, it's something to think of. Random. Hey, Random, what's up? You're super smart and wise. Random, thank you for coming back. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate you coming back, man. Love and respect. Thank you, Random. Love and respect. Hold on, guys. Hydration break. Man, I appreciate the love out there. Thank you, guys. Ryan B. American Writer. That is one of the main reasons why I choose to live in my car. I can understand that. Hearing people's TVs in the next room, I can understand that, man. Or footsteps above me, I'll pass. Look, when I lived in a condo, someone lived below me, and I remember running my washer machine, and I love the people who live below me. I love them if you're watching below. And I remember them calling me and said, look, you're running your washer machine. I can hear it down here. I said, but that's what you got to deal with. And I had good neighbors, guys, good neighbors. But yeah, I had a leak one time on something, and I went downstairs. I had to deal with, and I'm sure they didn't like it. You can't play your porn. You want to play your porn loud? You can't turn your porn up. You got to wear earphones in your own house. Even this RV lot I'm looking at, like I got neighbors pretty close. But the opposite of that, if you're not going to have any neighbors and you're going to have a raw piece of land or a big piece of land, single family or raw piece of land, you're going to be living in the middle of nowhere. Because you ain't going to have a big piece of land with no neighbors by the beach. You got to be a multimillionaire. And do I want to live in the middle of nowhere? I looked at that, but I don't think I do. It's not off the table. Nothing's off the table. But I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. But neighbors are a huge thing, man. And I look at that. When I look at that RV lot, I think, damn, I'm going to be marrying these neighbors. And that's what I do like about rental as far as campgrounds. I don't know about rental as far as an apartment. But what I like about campgrounds, look, sometimes you get a person who's like noisy next to you. But I say, look, I'm not married to this person after 2 days or 2 weeks. I'm gone. And I like that in my mind. Sometimes I think about, man, I got more privacy at a park, at like a public beach park, than I would in my home base because the neighbors are more closer. So at a public beach park down here in Florida, I can sit there, with no underwear on, spread my legs, let the wind blow. Like, I can't do that. Like, if I sat in front of my home base, there'll be neighbors right next to me. So I don't know about that. That's a negative. It's true. American writer. Ryan, yes, that's a huge downside to my apartment, blocking out the noise from other apartments. That's true. And the leaf blowers. I remember the landscapers, man. We had an HOA, man, but that's part of life. I don't want to do. I don't want to do. I don't want to mow lawns. I don't want to pull up weeds. I don't want to do that. So that's why I probably always have an HOA, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Annie J, thank you again for the coffee super chat, man. Love to you, Annie J. Hope you're still in here, man. Megan Ryder. Life provides lots of challenges. Amen, brother. The beauty is you can choose to hang in there and carry on. God's grace, brother. American Writer, I love you, man. I appreciate you being here since the early days, man. Thumbs up to you. You keep pushing forward, whatever you decide in life, man. Ryan B. American Writer, I remember I lived in an apartment, and I heard a couple fighting, screaming. Look, guys, more cops get called to an apartment than a Walmart parking lot. So there's more domestic disputes in apartments than in cars. So make a mental note. Heard a couple fighting, throwing crap violently. I don't know how people put up with that stuff. When you're in a fixed location, renting or buying, you don't have a lot of flexibility. Your number one asset as a nomad is your flexibility. Something don't seem right, someone parks too close next to you, you hit the start button on your car, you're out of there. That's what I like. That's why I'm not willing to give up this lifestyle just yet. That's a huge asset, guys. It comes with sacrifice, but it's a good asset. American Writer. Yes, that's a legitimate reason. Totally agree. Not to live in an apartment, American Writer, or even a condo or a house, because you got to deal with those people everywhere. There was a famous senator that he lives in a mega mansion. He got into a fight with his neighbor, and they started throwing blows. So, love, man. American Writer. I think I will buy a lot before I retire. I'll just stick in an RV on it. Look, I think that eventually will probably be my end game, is an RV lot, whether it's a paved lot in the HOA or a raw piece of land. I've mentioned that even in the early beginnings 2 years ago when I started this channel. That's one of my end games. But I know once I do it, there's no turning back. Well, I don't want to say there's no turning back. Look, you can always sell property. I don't want to say that. But I know you only get so many chances to live as free as I am. So I have a little bit of a conflicted feeling. But there's certainly value in some stability in having a home base. I agree with that. Annie G. Don't mention it, Sammy. I love you, man. Appreciate you. I value your videos. I value your friendship, man. And your message. Love to you. I often reflect on some of the message you give. Thank you, man. I appreciate you in this channel, brother. Love to you, man. Thank you. Ricardo, what's up, man? Shout out to Massachusetts. Brother, get your ass down here in Florida, man. Sam, what's up, how's Florida? Look, man, 85 degrees, starting to get hot and humid, guys. All the snowbirds migrated up north because it's getting too humid. And we haven't even got close to the height of the summer. So what I can tell you is if you still live in South Florida or any part of Florida in the summer, it's not going to be as crowded. And I like that. Will I ever go back up north only to visit my mother? Now, if I became destitute, I'd do what I need to do in life. I'm a survivor. But I don't ever want to leave Florida, guys. And that's why I purposely reposition my life and trying to make sure I make a responsible, below my means decision so that I can stay in Florida. So that even if I lose my job, I can get another job and I can maintain myself without having to be destitute. Ryan B. I'm sorry. And he goes, saving up now, things take time. I understand that. I think it takes 2 years to downsize and 2 years to reposition your life. That's what it took me, bare minimum. But what I can tell you is start now, because you're not going to get any younger. And even if it takes 2 years, it doesn't get any closer by you not starting. So continue to take the steps, brother. Ricardo, like I said, you have what it takes. You've proven that. Keep showing up. Ryan B. Yeah, I'm thinking of a plot of land with an RV as well, like Rusty, if you know him. Yeah, I know Rusty. I watched his channel. He was one of the people that inspired me. I made videos about him. But here's the thing. He travels 6 months out of the year. And he lives in the middle of nowhere. So, does it really pay off? And he's currently traveling in New Mexico. He was looking for a home base. But even he said it, there's nothing cheaper than the New Mexico State Pass. So you can live cheaper just having the New Mexico State Park Pass and camping for $4 a night or whatever than you can having a home base. But some aspect of it is not just money. Some aspect of it is a mental thing. that when we own property, we feel like, we're settled. And there's a value there. There is a value. But in many instances, what you're going to find is it's cheaper and more flexible to have no home base. Even, because most people who have home base, Camper Van Kevin, he doesn't stay he's got a home base in Georgia. Most of the time he's traveling. So a lot of people who have home bases, they don't spend the majority of their time there. But it's a mental security, and it does have some value. Rusty. Yeah, I know Rusty. Good guy. American Writer. Ryan, yeah, just like Rusty. I like Rusty, but he travels a lot. And he was looking for a second home base. It didn't work out, though. He just did a video about it. And he said he thanked God a little bit. It didn't work out because now he felt like that weight was off his back. Because he felt the responsibility of what the first thing he was going to have to do. He was going to buy a second home base. He was going to buy 2 home bases. He was going to buy a second home base in New Mexico, clear the land, pay for someone to clear it, and build it like he did in Texas. It would have been cheaper just to have the New Mexico State Pass. But there's something in our mind that, we want a home base, and I can understand it. I can. Journey with Jordan. Sam, I hope you had a good weekend. Thank you. With plenty of palm trees. I'm living in a land of palm trees and bikinis. And personal care time. Yeah, some masturbation involved. Congrats again on your 8,000 subs. Thank you, brother. That means a lot to me. That's awesome, and it is awesome. Look, guys, I'm thankful for that. I want to personally and publicly acknowledge every positive person that's ever said anything nice to me, even if they unsubscribe to me. Thank you, everyone who's in the room tonight and everyone who's ever watched me. I don't take that lightly. I've been on YouTube a little less than 2 years. I have 8,000 subscribers, over 2 million views total. Does that mean something to me? It does, and I'm thankful, and I don't take it for granted. Thank you, man. Will be hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you, Will. American Writer. It's pretty simple setup. It is, but nothing is simple, guys. Like Rusty, I watched Rusty since the beginning of his channel. I think I subscribed to him when he was like around 100 subscribers. He's got like 26,000 now. And what I could tell you is his home base was totally different. He had an old RV. His land was all wild, and he had a used Prius. And he would go long-term camping in his Prius, and he'd only come back to Texas in the winter. Ryan B, thank you, brother. Dennis, what's up, man? Let's take a hydration break. We'll get to Dennis, man. Love to you guys, man. Dennis, this is a very pleasant evening for a strong and sober message. Thank you, brother. Kudos for your thoughts, brother. Thank you, Dennis. Love to you. Very smart man. And again, guys, remember, these are just my thoughts. There's no one answer to life. Life is not an exact science. It's a little bit of an art form. So you paint with your own brush, and we all change our mind. I could change my mind tomorrow. Good job. Journey with Jordan. I would rather own income properties than become a slumlord of sorts. Laughing. That was good to laugh, but what I can tell you is my mom owned rental property, and I think it was part of the reason my parents got divorced. But at the same time, if she didn't have that rental property, I don't think she would have got divorced because she wouldn't have had financial independence. That rental property my grandfather left to her, and that was the only reason we weren't in poverty when my parents got divorced. But my mom also worked. She showed up. She worked at ShopRite, and she worked, at the school system. She worked a lot of different jobs, executive assistant. Look, my mom showed up. She got a good work ethic. And she raised 3 kids. And my father also helped too. So I don't want, look, at the end of the day, guys, I don't want to get off track. What I can tell you is this. Being a landlord is a job. It's not a bad job. I know some people who are passionate about real estate, but it's a job. And so what are you going to do when a troll moves in as a tenant? I knew someone that had to evict. They had to evict someone. It took them months to get them out of that house, and they had to go to court. I went to court with them. There's a lot of aggravation. You come home from a long day, you got to deal with a issue at your rental property. It's not easy, guys. But for people who are passionate about it, you should go for it. American Writer. Yes, the road does get tiring. It does. It gets weary. That's true. Good job, American Writer. You lived through it. So true. Ricardo, Sam, I'm moving to Florida. There you go. I was thinking Orlando. I don't want to be inland, man. I got to be by the beach, but I respect your decision. What do you think? Now, I didn't move to Florida because I want to be in the middle of the state. I moved to Florida because I want to be at the beach. You only get a couple opportunities in life to move. And that's why what I'm telling you here tonight, guys, above the fact that the average rent is $1,400, what I'm telling you here tonight is the first step is determining where you want to live, how can you secure income there, and then living there. I didn't want to move to Orlando because there's no ocean. You're an hour, 2 hours away from the ocean. And so there's job opportunities, but I don't want to live by Disney World. I want to live by the beach. But some people I know, they love Orlando. I don't like Orlando. I like the coast, East Coast specifically. But the best decision is your decision. And then he goes, how can I get a job out there if I don't live in Florida? Any tips? Yeah, start working at Walmart today. And then after 6 to 12 months of showing up consistently, you can ask for a job transfer. There's a million Walmarts in Florida. So start to work you could basically work for Walmart as long as you could pass a drug test and you show up. You may not like it, but if you want a basic way, work for Target. Show up for 12 months and then ask for a transfer. Work for any big company that is just basic labor. Show up for a year consecutively, avoid drama, and then ask for a job transfer. Work for Starbucks for a year. That's how you do it, guys. Now, I waited for 2 years for a transfer on my job. So, and then as you have a job and you're consistent, then you apply to other jobs. There's a lot of different ways, but the best way is you got to get a job, you got to show up consistently. But that's how you do it. Good job. American Writer. But you can do both maybe. Have a home base and travel a bit. You can. But I will say, once you have a home, because I initially started my nomadic life by keeping my condo and just traveling up and down the East Coast on the weekends. I would go for like 2-hour trips or 2-day trips and come back, take a couple days off of work, come back. When you own a property, you're always in your mind anchored to it. Not a bad thing, but it's something to consider. That's why I do, though, like an RV lot or a raw piece of land, because I'm not worrying about a house. Now, if I have an RV lot and I have an RV just plotted on it and I have neighbors, if a hurricane comes, I worry about like that trailer bumping into them. But look, but also when you travel, you may worry about your home base, but you have a security. So you have some place to go back to if you get tired of the road. That's a value. But it's not a value to have a home base in a state that doesn't inspire you. And that's why I got the hell out of New Jersey. And that's why I repositioned my life. So if I do buy a home base in Florida, at least what I do have as an encouragement, what will be different than the first time, is that now I own land, quote unquote, in a place that inspires me. So even though there is a burden involved, there's a somewhat of an equal blessing. Okay, so good point. NV Army, yeah. Hey, Sam and everyone. Well, shout out to Alaska. And shout out to your new video where you said, I'm not going to make videos every day. I'm going to drive around. I'm going to show you Walmart. Okay, I'm going to show you Alaska, which look cold as hell. I'm going to show you the mountains, which look too mountainous to me. It looked cloudy as hell over there in Anchorage. But what I can tell you is you love Alaska. I heard your passion. You said you loved Alaska in the video. I looked at the video and said, I hate Alaska. I still think it's Sarah Palin. But I love the fact that you love it. And if you love Alaska and it gets you inspired, maybe there's a home base for you. Not for me. But Bob Wells, he hates Florida. He ain't buying a home base in Florida. So everyone's different, guys. I love you, Zakia. American Writer. Keep your options open. I like options. Good job. Sometimes, though, I feel like if houses and rent keep going up, like you're going to run out of options. You get that feeling, too. Now, nothing goes up forever. But, there's always that in your mind, too. American Writer. Tuna doesn't matter. 1 second, guys. Got a lot of comments tonight. This is a good one. So many. All right, good job. Jacqueline. Hey, Sam. Jacqueline, how are you? Good to see you. Johnny P. Cool chat. Thank you, Johnny P. I appreciate that. Will be. Ignore the trolls. I go forward, brother. 2 years. I upload a video every day. 8,000 subscribers. It damn sure didn't come by being, self-conscious. I'm confident in myself. People try to tear you down because they're insecure with themselves. Now, by God's grace, I've never really cared what people think. I've had my moments of, what do I do? Just keep showing up. Free to be. Family and so-called friends, overrated. Well, to a big extent, I think that's true. Now, there's some good friends out there. There's some good family. Thank God for that. But I think to a big extent, a lot of that is overrated. I agree. Scooby-Doo and the first nomadics. They were living out of a van, man. That was magical. Thank you, brother. DTN, why folks get on a channel and start trolling, just move on. We will, brother. We go forward, DTN. We've dealt with it before. We do it again. Not the police. Taxation is a theft. Not necessarily. Now, to some extent, it can become abused. Anything of power can become abused. I mean, I actually need taxes for some things, but we also print money, so it is a little bit of a scam. Tax rates are at an all-time low for most people. There's a give and take there. I can understand that. There's a give and take there. I can understand that. Ravel, hey Sam, check out Becky's Homestead. I love her channel. All right, she's so inspiring. I'm not mad at you. Thank you. American Writer, nobody pays attention to trolls. Oh, good, American Writer. We go forward, brother. American Writer, different seasons of life. So true. Amen, brother. That is true. And you definitely experienced that, Ravel. You're a smart guy and a thinker. Well, Ravel, wink emoji to you and heart emoji to you. Thank you. Kame, hey, Kame. Hand wave emoji to you. American Writer, exactly. Pros and cons to everything. Ain't that the truth? Journey with Jordan. The Mobile Hobos is a pretty good channel as well. I'm not mad at that. XNXX.com is a good channel as well. It's free porn, guys. Nick, I will say, okay. Kimmy, hey, what's going on? Hey, brown out girl. Kimmy. Awesome. Rent is high. I can attest to that, Wayne, man. American Writer. Paying too much for rent. I hear that. Okay. Apathy. Hey, Sam. Good to see you. Good to see you also. You can just block trolls. That's what we're doing. Or maybe take their time for them. That's all right. They're sad, miserable. You already know what it is. They're probably on some type of prescription pills and blame their parents for everything. San Francisco studios are $4,000 monthly. That's high, man. That's very high. Is that where you're at? You weren't in San Fran, were you? I thought you were in Massachusetts. 787. I'm I have a pickup truck with a bed topper. If I leave any of the back windows blocked, will I get a ticket? Please answer. If you're legally parked for the legal amount of time, you should be able to do whatever you want with your windows. If you're driving, then you have to look at the laws in your state. Every state has different laws. Like you could have certain tints and certain blacked out windows in certain states. So you have to research the laws. I don't want to give you incorrect information, but if you're legally parked for the legal time, you should be able to do whatever you want with your windows. Will be. I'm curious, outside of SF, now Apathy, it's crazy all over here. Bay Area. That's true. Not the police. Yep, rent control doesn't work. Yeah, that's true. And subsidized housing is usually not always the best thing because you're going to end up in a bad area. So I think the key thing, guys, is, some people have no control over that, though. Some people are not able to work physically, mentally, emotionally. But if you have the ability and you got to deal with a troll at work, deal with it. Because better to deal with a troll at work than to deal with a social worker or ungrateful family member because you got to live with them. So I have compassion. I realize there are people who can't work. If you can, though, work and be independent. Apathy. Please ignore. Yeah, he's gone. He's all right. It depends where you are, what kind of cool you're dealing with. Thank you, Potty. Pack Live, what's up, Sam? Keeping up, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. San Francisco's in the house. Pack, do you own your house or do you rent? You're in the Bay Area. 787. One more thing, please. Is it okay if I leave my pickup truck running while sleeping? Okay. Nora. Hey, I made it, Sam. Good to have you. Hope your day was great. Norma, thank you again for everything. Thank you for the super chat, Norma. Yeah, it's good. Good to see you. I still see, I don't want to get upset, but I still seeing the issue over there with the Robert Kraft, man. And I'm very disappointed that Robert Kraft, man, he's got the money. He's fighting the case. I'm fine with him fighting the case and beating it. But the people who are running that massage parlor, they're getting hung out to dry. And I don't like that, guys. I don't like that at all. Potty. Wouldn't recommend doing it. You got to have a carbon monoxide detector. I totally agree with that. Danto, Keep up the good work. Thank you. I love the wisdom. It really helps. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Daddy Geek, thank you again, Daddy Geek, for the love of sport. Hope you're still in here. You stay in that Prius, you're repositioning your life. Look, you work for a person that you don't like, but you keep showing up because you're wise. Reposition your life so you can live where you want or do what you want, get away from family members or coworkers, but do what you need to do to stay independent. Good job. Take care of your health too. Norma, hey Kim, mate, thank you. Norma, Daddy Geek. Little Rent, my Daddy Geek. You know, the biggest thing I can encourage you to do, because you've been so generous, I could just, look, I want you to build your life. I want you to just keep doing you, to reposition your life. Do more things you love. Start with weekend trips. Take weekend trips, guys. That's what I started with. Love to you, Daddy Geek. Thank you. Heart emoji. Heart emoji for your support. Norma. Hi, Daddy Geek. Sean the Earthworm. What a disaster. Daddy Geek, hey, Norma. Rick. Dennis. That was very cool, Daddy Geek. Very nice. Very generous. To make smile or two. Daddy Geek, keep going for it. Daddy Geek, wow, Sam. That Santa is really drawing in the trolls tonight. Yeah, look, there's Cain killed Abel because of jealousy. It didn't matter how nice people talk to Cain. Didn't matter how nice people talk to the how to get a predator. Doesn't matter how nice you talk to trolls. What I can tell you is, guys, look, there's always going to be psychopaths. I don't care. It doesn't move me either way. I keep showing up doing what I need to do in life. And I escalate, document, and some people should be in jail. And those trolls, they're going to spend their time. Don't worry. Well, Tony Gilbert, hey. See? Hey, Sam. A pet is extremely expensive. I've been there. I used to spend $400 a month on my dog. I spoiled the crap out of her. I loved her. And then she goes, if the dog has a hip dysplasia or cancer, I understand that. Or needs surgery, I understand that. That is a lifetime of expensive medications. I understand that. Now, I also want to be fair. A dog gave me some of the greatest love I ever had. And I wish I would have been a little bit more patient at the end, but it's just hard to see your dog suffering at the end. And a dog will bring you some of the best love you ever had. I didn't mind spending $400 a month. At the end, though, it was tough. And some of the painful memories of the end, it was tough. So it brings you pain and joy. It's tough. Man, thanks for showing me how I can live free. How can I donate, pay back? Just keep doing you, man. Daddy Geek. Tony, I think the sheriff and the deputy need to get on the job tonight. Yeah, don't worry, Daddy Geek. We're going to go forward. I love you, Daddy Geek. Genuine Jordan. That's true about the square footage issue. Totally agree with that. One person only needs no more than 250 square feet. I talk to Europeans. Yeah, Europeans and Asians, they got it right all the time. They comment it was ridiculous waste in this country. Even small things like we have way too much water in our toilets. To some extent, that may be true. That's a good comment. Apathy. Thank you again, Apathy, Daddy Geek, Annie G, Norma. You guys, thank you, Apathy. Always good to see you, Sam. Those trolls are just jealous. I know, Cain and Abel. You are appreciated. Same to you, Apathy. Same to you. You keep pushing forward. Norma, yeah, Apathy, I'm here. Pizza Guy, I'm absolutely correct. Thank you. I appreciate that. Journey with Jordan. Lyft makes more money than Uber. No, they don't. They lose $1 billion a year. I got a $100 appreciation bonus from Uber this week. But Uber said, I think if you made 40,000 deliveries, you're going to get a $40,000 bonus. Laughing. I'm not complaining, though. Could have been 0 and F like usual. Well, that's true. Now, look, DoorDash, same thing. But I'm thankful for DoorDash. That's why I did DoorDash. I'm not doing it as much anymore. But what I could tell you is same thing. Like, I'm not going to complain, but I also want to be realistic. It's a minimum wage job, basically. Even if you get the $10, $15 an hour, which you could do, you still have to deduct it for gas and wear and tear. But the best part about those jobs are the freedom and flexibility. And that's what makes them a step ahead, even though they're not that high paying. But if you move where you want, if you live below your means, then you can get a couple jobs like Uber, Lyft, or DoorDash, as long as you don't have a family. If you have a family, you're going to have a major job too. So, but that's why it's key to live where you want and Uber there where you want. Apathy. Hey, Daddy Geek. Hey, Norman. American Writer. Sam, you're still DoorDashing, not as much, only very on occasion. I want to try it. You should try it. I've done over 300 deliveries. You should do it. You should get it in your arsenal, especially if you're going to be a nomad. The first couple are going to be a disaster. But over time, it's good to have in your arsenal and get experience. So I would definitely recommend it. Uh, Journey with Jordan, thank you, man. Troll away disaster fund. Oh man, you guys have been very generous, man. Thank you guys all tonight, man. Thank you. Apathy, definitely demented soul, Sam. Yeah, you can't convince a predator, an abuser. You can't talk it out of them, guys. I used to think you can. I pray for them. I'm not going to say anyone's going directly to hell, but all I can tell you though is just don't waste time on them. Just go forward and focus on the 90% positive people in your life. Daddy Sam, you need to make a moderator so you can stay on point with this ridiculous. Maybe eventually, but it's good that you guys see this. I'm very transparent, guys. I got nothing to hide. I really don't care. So I think it's good that you see this because this is what you have to deal with in life. It doesn't matter if it's on YouTube, Walmart, or Wall Street. You have to deal with trolls. And so you see, like, I don't let them mess up my money. They've been doing that since the beginning of the channel. I still show up every day. And I apply that to a mindset in life. And that's the value of me not moderating it. You guys see it. I have a filter that blocks curse words or racial things. And we're back. But like I say, it's good that you guys see it because it's all part of having a YouTube channel and, just going through life. But good comment, Daddy Geek. Where we at? Oh, man. I lost some of my live feeds. Next one up was Apathy. You will find the RV live your dreams. Thank you, Apathy. And forgive me if I missed some, guys. I had to restart or reboot the live feed, so it's only let me see so many comments. Cameron, the rest too damn hot. I know that's right. Apathy. Yes, we have Daddy Geek. Nomad Tribe. Wipe them out. I'm talking about sad little trolls. Total disaster, guys. Journey with Jordan. I gave an Uber ride today from the Tesla dealership to a $1.5 million mansion. The guy was very nice and humble, but sad because his wife recently died. Really put things in perspective. Good comment. Look, not all rich people are bad. Not all poor people are bad. There's good and bad in both. That's true. Daddy Geek. Hey, Apathy. We got this. Thank you, Apathy and Daddy Geek. Apathy, thumbs up and dancing. Claudette. Sam, thank you, Claudette. No one I love accepts what I want to do. Well, you got to do. There's a level of your journey you have to walk alone. I ain't got the time. I understand that. For that, I agree with that. We only have now. I agree with that. Live now. Claudette, love to you, confidence to you. I hope you're still in here. And I totally agree with that. Norma. Claudette, I have been dealing with that as well. I dealt with that, guys, too. Turning my phone off seems to work. Norma, that's wisdom. Change your phone number if you get too much negativity. Delete your social. I love you, Marin. Yeah, Norma's laughing, Marin. Good job. Marin's very encouraging. Apathy. Palm trees, so true, Gina. Thank you. Pineapple emoji. Freebie. Forward, Sam. You already know what it is. It's easier for humans to say negative than positive. That's very true. Forward, brother. Always. Good job. Pizza guy. No. Water diets don't work. Good job. Marin. Yeah. A lot of palm trees, a lot of oceans, a lot of hearts. I love you, Marin. Cameron, $1,500 for rent in Chicago. You're just about at the average, man. That's actually pretty cheap, I would think. Chicago's got a lot of job opportunities, but I can never live there. Too cold, man. Apathy. Marin, thumbs up. Marin, water fasting does work for me. All right. Pizza guy says thank you. Apathy, I have a god-awful neighbors. Apathy, get the hell out of there. Journey with Jordan at Marin. There is a lot of solid evidence that I've read on the internet, laughing, supporting the benefits of water fasting for a few days. Yeah, but it's not a sustainable way. Now, you should drink more water, but look, guys, you got to eat better. You got to have less sodium, less processed foods. You're not going to be perfect. But yeah, you got to walk. Good job. Plant-based. K-Box. Speaking of Tesla, saw a guy on YouTube who bought a Model X, lives out of it, all right, and does Lyft for a living in San Francisco. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at anyone doing the best they can for their life. Good job. Thank you for sharing. Claudette, tell the truth, that Norma. Pizza guy, insurance east of I-95 is high. Yeah, in some areas, you can't even get insurance on a house. That's true. That's the risk reward. You can live inland, but it may not be as inspiring. You can live by the ocean, but it's higher risk. That's true. Good point. Apathy. When you buy a house, you take a huge risk. That's true. With neighbors, that's definitely true. I agree with that. I got noisy, intrusive neighbors. Good point. Now, look, I actually got good neighbors, but it's entanglement. Norma, a bunch of people were dealing drugs on 420 at one of the Walmarts near me, and the police shook everyone down. That's interesting. And now that Walmart has no overnight parking. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Things can change quick. Good job. Yeah, that's true. Chris W., what happened with Uber? Apathy. I'm going to sell my house to a college frat. Can't wait. Apathy. No, Norma. Marin, thank you for sharing stability with like-minded others. Love you, Marin. All whom I truly like. You're a blessing to God. Thank you for keeping this nice place to be. Well, I love you, Marin. With your thought-provoking shares, prayer emoji, hydration emoji, and love to you. Thank you, Marin. Norma, I know that was one of the places to go-to places on work nights because it's super close to my gym and my job, but that's okay. I'm getting better at this every day. You will, over time, you adapt more and you gain more confidence, like everything in life. But also, you do get road weary. That's true, too. Love to you, Norma. Apathy. Very sweet message, Marin. She's an encourager. Good job, Apathy. Norma, yes, Marin, you are kitty. You are the kitty's pajamas. That's interesting. Apathy. The cat's meow. I like that. American writer. Sam, the troll is using multiple accounts. Yeah, that's okay. We keep going forward, brother. Thank you, though, American writer. Chris. My mistake. DoorDash, not Uber. Only on occasion, not as much as I used to. Because it's just a side hustle. Not a mandate for me. I just like to know I have it in my bag of arsenal in case I needed it. Norma, you, all caps, deserve it, Sam. Only by the grace of God, but thank you. You are so genuine and honest. I try to be the best I can, but I'm not perfect. Thank you. We love you. 3 beautiful green hearts. Thank you. Journey with Jordan. Norma, you may want to track Crackle Barrels. Yeah, that's a good point. In your area, Crackle Barrels are a good point. Yeah. The heat dies down at the Walmarts. That's true. What I can tell you, and many Walmarts have those signs, but if you're not a knucklehead, yeah, that's true. Good point. Apathy. How sad is that multiple accounts give a thumbs down? What a waste of time. That's all right. It's good that you guys see it. It's part of life. Journey with Jordan. You'll be fine. That's right. Apathy, we do. Apathy, you are the real deal, Sam. Thank you for emoji. Apathy, been there on that. Apathy, nice, Daniel. Norma, thank you, Journey with Jordan. There is one little down the road. We'll definitely check it out. Good tip. I'm at a campground tonight. Good job, Norma, by the lake. Look, guys, nomadic life has its pros. It does. Pizza guy. Does paranoia creep into your mind while boondocking? I try not to go in the middle of nowhere with no people. I go to campgrounds. There's people there, so that's how I do it. Norma, not in my mind, pizza guy. Can't speak for everyone else though. Analysis paralysis. Good place to sleep overnight is at a casino. They have security open 24/7. That's a fair point. Apathy, true. Norma, I work at casino 3 times a year. So when that's happening, I do sleep there. Good, all right. But no casinos in the state where I live, so it's not a usual thing. All right, well, good conversation. Mr. Pizza Guy. Cincinnati in June to see my mom. Okay. Love and respect to the Bengals. Illinois. Nice thumbs up to catch you live again. Illinois, you stay positive, bro. Good to have you, man. Queen! Queen, you're back! Queen, where you been? Hello, Queen. Hello, everyone. Queen, you've been coloring. I miss you, Queen. I've been thinking about you often. I hope you're still in here. Queen. No, it says Queen. Grateful RV life. Hey, brother Sam. I love you, man. Well, I appreciate that. I love you too, man. Apathy. Still in my Sam. But a friend of mine lives in San Francisco. Oh, you're still in Massachusetts. But a friend of yours lives in San Francisco. What do you think about seasonal jobs, Sam? Just curious. I did a video about them. They suck. Unless they're supplemental income. They're like a DoorDash. But they require a lot of hours for low pay. So you're basically going to get paid minimum wage or $10, $15 an hour max. So I say they suck. I say I'd rather work DoorDash, Walmart, something like that in an area I love. But I'm not against them. I'm not against anyone's hustle as long as it's not hurting someone else. So that's my overall opinion. But everyone, again, it's an option. Apathy. The trolls were crushed. Yeah, they were. Apathy. Hey, Queen's back. Yeah, that's Norma. Yes, Apathy. Kill them with kindness. Or we just block them and say, go F yourself in our mind. But we stay positive. But look, you're not going to kill a child predator with kindness. He's still going to be a child predator. And, that's the things, guys. I've learned that in life. You could talk as nice as you want to a child predator. Guess what they're going to do? If they're not locked up, they're going to go be a child predator. And that's why, like I say, look, some people, they got to get out of society. That's truth. Analysis paralysis. UPS is always hiring part-time. Biggie Smalls is talking about that. Different shifts. If you can handle loading trucks. Yeah, look, now as you get older, you don't want to do that as much. So that's the young person's hustle, but I'm not mad at that. Journey with Jordan. Uber loses more money than Lyft. I'm not surprised. It's what I was saying. Okay. But only because Lyft is only in the U.S. All right, there, good point, guy. Which, I'm not going to say that right. The bleeding, stunts. Both companies are total disaster, but that's the capitalist public market. So that's okay. Don't get me wrong. But they cause the economy to grow, and they do give people jobs, and that's why we're allowed to play like the capitalist game. So I'm not mad at them, but it is a game. That's true. Pizza guy, I delivered for years. My car is my office. Well, brother, you're already there, man. You keep pushing forward. Rosie, do you live here? All right. James, baby. What's up, James? Good to have you, man. Sam, baby. I would also do DoorDash every once in a while. It could put wear and tear on your Jeep. Well, yeah, that's kind of why I stopped. I don't really need to do it. It's a side hustle, but I wanted to do it for at least a month steady to know that I had it in my back pocket if I needed to. But that's what kind of came to my mind eventually. I know a viewer brought that up. Sam, baby. Yep. But the wear and tear, I agree. Marin. Plant-based will take care of really, I agree with that. Look, 90% plant-based diet will get you there, guys. Not the water fasting. 2 tricks. I love you, pizza guy. Organic is underrated. I think it's overrated, but okay, let's continue to read. Drink half your body weight in ounces of filtered water every day. I agree with that. More if you're sweating. Well, damn it, let's take a hydration break. I love you. I love pizza guy. Journey with Jordan. Newsflash, James. Living in your car causes wear and tear in your car. Well, that's true. Look, my car smells like ass right now, man. Like, forget about the wear and tear on my brakes, even though I got to get my brakes done this week. Like, if you smell my car smells like ass. I got to wash my car before Wednesday when I take my car in for maintenance. What's the point of having a car being afraid to use it? That's true. But James' point is also true. It's a combination of balance of foot. Marin, Queen's back. James, Sam, I went to the college gym. It was more quiet than the fitness connection by my house. Well, there's wisdom for having a quiet place. It's serene. It's peaceful. I agree with that. James, it put extra wear and tear in your car. That's a fair point. Journey with Jordan, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, internet is give and take, man. It can be a place for destruction, or it can be a place for where you learn a lot of information. I've learned a lot. It's a tool. So you can use a hammer to build a house or to smash your head. Some of the trolls use it to smash their head. I use it to build my life. So I use the internet for information, to build my life better, and free porn. James, thanks. Norma, so glad I caught you tonight. Norma, I appreciate you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone. Daddy Gig, Norma, Annie G, Apathy, everyone. Love and respect to all the real Nomad tribe here. Love and respect. Thank you, Norma. James, Sammy, I also try to eat some plant-based. I ain't mad at that. When I go back to something pizza, I also eat salad, brother. There you go. Norma's laughing, James. Guys, I made it to every live comment. I'm exhausted. Almost 2 hours streaming. Over 2 hours. Thank you for every positive comment. Thank you for every super chat. Thank you for clicking a thumbs up, sharing the video. Thank you, guys. Without the positive people, I would fold up shop. I would keep doing what I need to do. Live where you want. Figure out how you can get an income there. Then live below your means and just live life. Every day get in the ocean. Doesn't matter what the rent is. You got to get in the ocean. Doesn't matter what your mortgage is. You got to get in the ocean. That's a parable to you. Got to live life because every day you're dying. You're terminally ill. Even if you're cancer-free, you're terminally ill. So sleep well. God bless.